All right, Katie, just give us a minute. Let's get Tim on here. Otherwise, we'll have to repeat ourselves.
Okay, no worries. There's Tim.
Hello, I'm here.
Hi there. Okay, I think we have everybody then. So before we get started, I did have an announcement to make. I know Doug isn't here, so I was going to email him separately, but I did want to announce that I'm actually leaving Oracle NetSuite. And so this is my last week. And I would like to introduce Lisa, who will be joining the account, and she will be taking over for me. So we're having some internal meetings to transition your customer and go over all the cases that you guys have in queue and everything to make sure that we transition properly, give her all of the knowledge that I have, all the cases that are in progress, and make sure she has everything to be successful. So I just wanted to make that announcement to you guys and let you guys know that that's going on before we get started here. And my last day will be this Friday. So just wanted to let you guys know that before we get started.
Thank you, Katie. Welcome, Lisa.
So Lisa, if you want to just take a couple of minutes just to introduce yourself and give them a little bit of a background about you.
Yeah, hi, my name is Lisa Surya. My background is in finance and accounting, most financial reporting. I am sad that Katie is leaving us, but I'm here to support you guys. So if you have any questions, just shoot me emails or, anything. I'll be happy to help. So thank you.
Yep. And also in the background, you have another person that's assigned to your account. She couldn't be on this meeting today, but Erin, who is one of our practice directors, is also assigned to your account as the customer success manager. And she will continue to kind of work in the background to support Lisa and to support you guys as well. So yeah, she's also been kind of in that role throughout the engagement. You guys just haven't had as much interaction with her because she is one of our practice directors. So. All right, so now let's get into credit cards. So, I just wanted to kind of go through the process of credit cards, credit cards versus terms, how to enter credit card information kind of on the customer record, what that does, and then also how that kind of goes through the process to sales orders, and then also this new customization that we've done with you guys for the script that will reauthorize sales orders for when you guys have back orders. So I just kind of wanted to walk through that process. And please, this is part demo and part answering questions. So as questions come up, please feel free to ask any questions that you have. All right, so with that, I will start sharing my screen. So most of the time, the customer, the credit card information will likely begin on the customer record. Generally, maybe the customer will have credit card information. I am in Sandbox on, this is kind of one of the ones that Brad and I have been using for our tests in Sandbox, test company website. So in this case, this customer has a few different credit cards on their customer record. This might be true for many of your different customers. They might have a credit card that they want to use sometimes, like they might have a Visa and they might have a MasterCard, for one purpose or another. So they might have multiple credit cards on their customer record. So NetSuite allows you to store multiple profiles on there. And then there is also this default credit card. So this default credit card, in addition to designating one as kind of the default, what that also does is that when you go to enter a sales order, is that it will set that credit card as the payment method for any sales orders entered for that customer, because it's basically treating that as like, this is how they want to pay for their goods. This is their, default credit card information, and this is how they want to pay. So in cases where you guys have, I believe this came up with one of your customers, where you guys have customers that have set terms and also have default credit card, what I've done in production is set Tim up with a saved search that will alert when a customer has terms and also has a default credit card, because that is likely outside. That's something that you guys don't want necessarily for your customers. Is somebody who has terms that you have agreed upon, you know, hey, they're going to pay us in 30 days. They don't necessarily need to pay upon ship. So they wouldn't have, their sales orders wouldn't need to have payment on their sales orders, because what will happen if their sales order has payment on the sales order is that when that sales order is shipped, it will take payment at that time. So that's why this default credit card is a pretty big deal. So you ideally only want that when you don't have a terms agreement. That's when you likely have a customer who is pay upon ship, where you don't have, you know, maybe you haven't done a credit check on them, they're a new customer, and you do want to take payment from them when you ship their goods. So any questions about setting up credit card information on the customer record? Okay. So then on the sales order, you guys have one sales order for both your term customers and your credit card customers. I did want to point out that it is possible, if that is a customization that you guys want, you can set up different sales order forms for each. But what that would mean is that you would have to decide at the sales order stage whether this is going to be a pay upon ship or an invoice, like whether it's going to create an invoice when you go to bill it, or whether it's going to create a sales order, and you would have to basically have two different forms set up at that point, and you'd have to choose which form. Like from this drop down, you would have one maybe that would be called Brad's Custom Sales Order Invoice and Brad's Custom Sales Order Cash Sale. And based upon which one you choose, it would either create a cash sale when it is billed or an invoice when it is billed. So that is an option, and that way, depending on which one you choose, that's the type of transaction when it's billed that it will create. Any questions on that?
I don't see a need for separate forms myself, as long as it will charge the customers that have a default credit card on file and who are on prepaid terms. We should just use the same form as always.
Right. Most customers do, yeah. The only reason, is if you guys were having consistent problems where, you know, for whatever reason, you wanted to have default credit cards set up, but you wanted your term customers, like essentially if that wasn't working for you, that's when you'd want to have the different forms. So I've chosen my test company website, and you'll notice even though the customer has terms here, it didn't default into here. And the reason why, again, is that the default credit card is set up. So instead of defaulting to the terms, what happened here is on the billing tab, it auto-filled payment information onto the billing tab from their default credit card. So their default credit card auto-filled onto the sales order. And so it's this credit card 5123, this MasterCard that is their default credit card, auto-filled onto the sales order. And what I can do is I can actually choose any of the sales orders or any of the credit card profiles that are set up on their, so if the default one wasn't what I wanted, like let's say I have the customer on the phone and they're actually, hey, actually use the Visa ending in 1111, then I can choose the different Visa. Now, one thing you do want to watch out for is it will save a new, like if you enter it on the sales order, it will save a new profile. And what this means is different information was entered. So in this case, different name on card was entered, even though it's the same ending 4 digits in the same card, a different name on card was entered. So you will need to probably clean that up. Like occasionally a customer might have 2 different profiles that are entered on their 2 different credit card profiles that are essentially the same but might have slightly different information. So you do have to watch out for that. If somebody is manually entering the payment, this is likely me when I was attempting to get the test to go through and figuring out why SoluPay wasn't allowing my test to go through. So I kept trying new profiles to get it to go through. So if I did want it, for instance, to be on terms and not to be on payment, here I would want to unselect payment and then choose the terms. And then that way it will select an invoice to create when it is billed rather than a payment. All right. So the other thing is this get authorization is very important. So Brad had it auto-selected so that this will not have to be manually selected each time. If this is not selected, what will happen is that the authorization will not automatically be like SoluPay will not go out and automatically get the authorization when the credit card, when the sales order is saved. So you want to make sure that this get authorization checkbox is selected. All right. And so then other than that, you would just enter in the sales order as normal. So I'm just going to pick some items here. Okay, so now I've got a credit card amount of $407.09. So I'm going to save this.
Now, at this point, it's just authorizing that $497, correct?
Correct. And so we're going to see that what should happen here is we'll get basically when this saves, we'll either get a green message at the top, a yellow or a red message at the top, letting us know kind of the result of the authorization.
Okay.
So I think that's why it's taking especially long to save, because it's going out and doing the authorization. Transaction successfully saved. And on the billing here, we have a payment event. So it was accepted. So it didn't actually, it gave us the green message and it said the event was authorization. So it didn't actually charge their card. It just authorized it. So it's essentially a hold for the full amount of the, sales order.
Right.
So then now we're going to fulfill the sales order or a part of it. And obviously this part would normally be done through the warehouse and through the WMS, but for these purposes, I'm going to just do it manually. And now we have the option to bill because we've now fulfilled things, and so things are able to be billed.
Katie, when you go to create the bill for it, can you do it through the invoice sales order rather than the item fulfillment?
Sure.
Brad, are we any closer to getting that automated? the invoice sales order at the end of the day?
We're not close at all. It's only been talked about. There's nothing been scoped out or anything.
All right, just wondered.
Okay. Just wanted to check. Should have left it open because I couldn't remember what sales order number it was. So it is sales order number 1986. And it's an order type of cash sale, as we can see here. So I'm going to submit.
I believe this will take a little bit longer because it's trying to capture the funds as well.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay, complete. Result record. So if we go back to our sales order and refresh, now we see there's a new payment event that took place, and it took place on the cash sale transaction that was created. So we have a new cash sale transaction, cash sale 16, for $39.99. It actually just, oh, it's because I processed a free one. Good. That was a free item that I sold. Whoops. Didn't notice that.
I'll process the shipping.
Yeah, it processed the shipping. Well, that's good. Probably should have picked an item that had, some sort of actual amount on it, but I didn't catch that. So 2 of the items that I picked were free. So noted on that, but it still processed the shipping. And so, and it captured the $39.99. So you can see here we have the authorization and then we have the capture authorization. All right. And so now, one quick second, I got to pull up my saved search, which I have to remember the name of really quick. Sorry. Been a minute since I've looked at it, just since last week. That was long enough to forget what it was called. So there is the process essentially to reauthorize once you have kind of processed once you've authorized and then captured against it, this authorization is no longer good. Even though you've authorized for the full amount, you've now captured against that. So this authorization is no longer valid. So to then capture, you need to reauthorize, but there's no automatic process for that. So what we need to do is then what we've created is a script that will reauthorize against it. So what I'm looking up is the name of the sales order of the saved search that that looks for the SO to get very logical name. And so this is what the script is looking for partially fulfilled sales orders. And to make sure that these are the ones that we need to get another authorization on, essentially, to say, hey, these are ones that are partially fulfilled where we have a cash sale and the cash sale was authorized after the original authorization. So then it's saying, hey, we need to get another authorization on this at this time. And so then what will happen in production is that this will be a scheduled script that when something appears on this saved search, it will go and grab it, but that's not how it works in Sandbox. So in Sandbox, I'm going to trigger this script by going to the script itself, just so you guys can see how it works. So I'm executing this script. again, that you will not have to do this in production. This will run on a schedule, and it will capture authorizations for whatever is on the Safe Search.
So, Katie, the reauthorization isn't triggered by receiving of backordered goods. Then it's just going to do it on a nightly basis or so.
Correct. Yes. Yeah, we
So if
talked
we
about
have
having it triggered, and Doug said that he didn't care whether or not, just to reauthorize it right away.
Okay. So if we
Go ahead.
so if this reauthorization that happens, say we ship out today, reauthorize tonight, and the back order still doesn't come in for another 10 days after the authorization falls off, how do we reauthorize that?
So you can capture against the authorization up to 30 days. It's just that they can't guarantee that authorization, you know, for I think it's 3 to 7. So, let me think. I'm wondering if we could do this based off of, because this is not a mainline search.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if we can do this.
I was hoping we could do it off of commitment.
That's what I'm wondering as well, but it's also looking at the payment event type,
Mm-hmm.
which may not allow that. So let me see if let me play around with that and see if I can make it also look at commitment.
Mm-hmm.
If not, I'm trying to think if we could do it based off of summary saved searches. I mean, we could maybe get there. Yeah, I just don't know. We might have to basically put committed quantity at like the header level, basically to do a summary of what is here and put it at the header in order for the safe search to be able to read it. Because the only thing I'm concerned about is that it's looking at the payment event, which I believe is essentially like a sublist. As you can see here, it's not actually, it's not actually looking at the item sublist. And so that's my only concern, is that I don't know that I'll be able to read both the item sublist and the payment event sublist in the same safe search, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
Well, now you said if it continues to show up in this report, it'll reauthorize it every night?
No. So you'll notice once I authorized it, it disappeared off of this.
Okay.
Yeah. So once it captures the authorization, what this safe search is looking for is essentially that let me go back to the criteria. It's when the payment event date of the cash sale payment event date is after the most recent payment event date. So it's saying is the most recent authorization date after the most recent cash sale payment event date.
And so what if we don't ship the back order within, it's going to keep that authorization for 30 days.
Correct. You can capture against it for 30 days. Yes.
Right. Let's say we don't ship it for 35. What happens then?
That is a good question. So that's what we kind of have to see about, if we can try to only authorize it once it's committed, because then you would only authorize it once you have committed goods, and presumably then you would ship it out shortly thereafter.
Can't we do the authorization and payment at invoicing for when there's a back order and it's on a customer that has a default credit card?
So
yes,
technically the authorization is supposed to be approved prior to let you know that the funds are available. If you're doing the authorization at time of capture, then you've already shipped it and may not get payment if it gets denied.
Right. That's the risk, is that you've already shipped it out, and so you have nothing to hold back at that point.
How about if when it's fulfilled, I guess?
Ideally, I'd like to do it when it's committed because then it is the closest point. You haven't shipped anything yet, but it's when its goods are committed. So you know you have the goods at that point.
Yeah.
Just you haven't shipped them out yet. So if I can, I'd like to use that as the trigger rather than just they're ready to be, and I believe we can get there. I just need to see if I can read this committed column.
Mm-hmm.
That's my goal. And if not, if I can read this committed column to basically get it to be read into something at the header, and I can get it onto the Save Search. Use it as one of my criteria. That would be the goal. Yeah.
Okay.
So then now we can see on the billing, other authorization here. And the amount is for the full amount less what we've already captured against. So it's no longer for the $407.09. It's for $407.09 we've already charged the customer, against the full amount. I'm actually going to fulfill one of the lines that actually has value this time, which I think is the middle one. Let's do 3 of this. And then this is again on here to be invoiced. All right. And then we can see another capture here, this time for $220.26. And here's that cash sale that was created. And then it's back on my to get authorization again. All right. Any questions?
How long will it take to get that, to figure out whether we can do it on committed or not?
Probably at least a couple of days, I would say.
Okay.
Lisa and I'll put our heads together. I have some ideas, but I got to test it out.
Okay. I would probably say that we might not want to make this go live until we see if that's an option.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
Anybody else have any other questions?
And are you guys currently, so when you are charging cards, do you guys have a payment hold process? Like if a customer's card declines, are you familiar with like looking at payment holds and that kind of thing?
No. Really.
Yeah, like when their card declines, like, it goes on payment hold essentially. And do you have like safe searches to review when that happens and that kind of thing and make sure that it doesn't get shipped out? Okay, Gotcha. Okay.
We have an open order report that's consistent every day, and some of those in there are pending credit card processing, or credit card has been declined, something like that. We just put it in the notes right now, so I'm sure there's a more sophisticated way to put it in there.
Gotcha. So there is like a natural, like an payment hold process, and then certain people can be granted the permission to override a payment hold to essentially say, hey, I know they're on payment hold, but I'm going to release their sales order. So that's probably a process that I would recommend that you guys look into, is the payment hold process. And I can send you guys some sweet answers on that. And I'm happy, Lisa and I can look at building some saved searches. So guys can have quick and easy things to review which sales orders are on payment hold to make sure that those, don't get shipped out and that kind of thing. And we can take a look at some of these. I'm sure, Brad, these are like ones that you were testing on back when we were having the problems with SoluPay. So you can see this is what it will look like at the top. A payment hold has been placed on the sales order due to an authorization decline. But it still is in pending fulfillment stage. And so that's why you might want to consider another, like something else that would put it on, maybe into pending approval so that it doesn't get fulfilled.
Yeah, I would think if we do an authorization on it and it doesn't pass, it should automatically put the sales order on pending.
And we can definitely, I don't know if you guys must have a sales order approval workflow. And so that definitely, we can look at adding that in there.
Yeah, we basically get a report, a Save Search report every day at 1:00. And at that point, we can bring up the things that are on hold and look at them and see if there's if there's a valid reason to release them or not.
Yeah. And while it is pending fulfillment, it will not generate, like you can't notice that there is no fulfill button. And like there's no quantity here committed or anything. So it won't let you, like the system does a good job of saying, hey, don't do this, but you still have to have somebody who manages still have to have a process for reviewing it or doing something with it. So the system won't let you like accidentally ship it out, but you still want to make sure that somebody is coming in and either closing it or overriding it, or attempting to get an authorization again.
Now that'll pop up basically when the sales order is entered and it tries to do the authorization. Okay.
Yep. And then on the payment tab, you'll see here.
Then customer service will have the opportunity at that point to let AR know, hey, this credit card didn't go through for this sales order. Let's call the customer and see if they got a different credit card or what else we can do.
Right. Double check the number or the information and then, get a new credit card or, yep.
And you did a Save Search to find the orders that were on hold.
There's...
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, it's not a Save Search. It's just a native functionality called Manage Payment Holds. And so as long as you have the permission for managing payment holds, this comes up.
Okay. Is there a way to get that emailed on a daily basis, possibly?
I don't, not natively, but that's something we can set up a Save Search for.
Okay.
For anything that's on payment hold, yes.
Yeah, because that'd be a good thing along with the pending. If we could get that, then we could call the customers before 2:00. If we could get it emailed at like noon, we could call the customers at noon and say, hey, your credit card didn't go through. You got another credit card, blah, blah, blah. Would save us a little bit of time so that we just know to call the customers.
Right. Yeah, because this isn't based on a Save Search. It's just a native process screen. So, yeah.
Right.
Does this have a ability for reminders on the dashboard?
Let's see. Let's go to the dashboard and find out. I don't see it. But that's definitely something we can set up. I don't see one here. It's sometimes hard to know what it would be called. So it's possible it's on here. It's just not what I would call it, but I don't think so. Yeah, so that would be another case where that whatever, we set up for that to easily be added as a reminder. Yep.
So just to make sure, when the authorization is declined, the header of the sales order will still say pending fulfillment, even though it's on a payment hold.
Correct. Yes.
No wave will be able to be created or fulfillment started.
Yep, unless somebody overrides the payment hold.
When you click the override, does it ask for a reason why?
Let's click it. I don't think so. No, I think as long as you have that permission, I don't think anything. Yeah, no, it just basically releases that sales order.
Okay.
And who has permissions? What roles have permissions to hit that override payment hold?
We'd have to do a permission review to find out who has that.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
That should be very, very, very limited, and we should almost never hit that button. If we don't get authorization,
Sure.
Obviously it's not going to go through later on in the day.
Right, right. Yeah, essentially overriding that payment hold allowed me, it recorded an external event to say I authorized it, and now the fulfill button is available. So it will record who did it, and that it was an external event. So it basically records it as though I, Katie Clark, authorized their card. Almost as if I had my own terminal or something that, and therefore said, oh yeah, their credit's good with me, that kind of thing.
You're putting up a personal guarantee too?
Pretty much, yeah, that's what I just did.
For that $39,000?
Yep, yeah, so.
Let me see if there's a way I can transfer you to him. Hang on.
So that's what it will look like on the, on the payment event screen. So yeah, Brad, do you want to look at permissions, or would you like Lisa to check into that as far as who has that?
I don't know how to do one for every role. I only had to know how to compare two, or maybe it's three, but let me look. It probably won't be too hard. Give me a second. Oh, okay, I can do it.
Okay.
Which ones I got done? There's no cover pages. Oh, sorry.
Hey, what's the role permission name?
Sorry, you're going to ask me that. Hold on one second. Let me find it. Got my permission list here.
You saw the email, is it? Yeah, about the PTO date.
It's called override payment hold. They went with a good self-explanatory one there. I appreciate that.
Override payment hold. All right. Let me, line 248. All right, I got it.
Okay.
Sorry about my phone going off so often.
So yeah, I just did a search in Sandbox. So I just did a permission search. So you can do a safe search for specific permissions. So I did the permission is override payment hold. And looks like these particular roles have that permission currently. So I don't know who has those roles, but I can tell you those are the permissions that have it.
Yeah, we need to get it off of AR clerk, accountant. Well, let me rephrase that. Lifestyle mobility AR clerk. Sales manager. Store manager. Yeah, it should.
Who has because some of these may not have any users assigned to them.
Probably.
It's giving just me because I'm the user right now. That's why. I'm like, I don't have any of those roles. So, yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine the ones that don't have lifestyle mobility aids in front of them may not have anybody assigned to them.
Right, right. Yep. There's no users there. So
the only one we would need to take off is AR clerk.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. Any other questions?